Mastering Money and Wealth. 5 Life-Changing Lessons. Welcome to Mastering Money and Wealth, where we break down complex money and wealth subjects and ideas for you. What if I told you that the secret to becoming wealthy has nothing to do with how smart you are and everything to do with how you behave? That might sound strange, but consider this. Ronald Reed was a janitor. He drove a second-hand car, wore old flannel shirts, and used safety pins to keep his coat together. But when he died at 92, he left behind $8 million. Quietly, patiently, he had been investing in blue-chip stocks for decades and no one ever noticed. Now let's talk about Richard Fuscone. Harvard-educated investment banker, lived in a massive mansion with 2 swimming pools and a 7-car garage. At the peak of his career, he retired early in luxury. But during the 2008 crisis, he lost everything. Bankruptcy, foreclosure, gone. One man had every financial advantage. The other had almost none. So how did the janitor become the millionaire and the executive go broke? That's what The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel is all about. How success with money is not a science, it's a behavior. Today, we're breaking down 5 life-changing lessons from that book. Lessons that could reshape how you save, spend, invest, and live. And stick around because the final lesson isn't even about money. It's about time, freedom, and what truly makes life rich. Let's dive in. Lesson 1. Luck and risk rule, more than we like to admit. Let's start with a humbling truth. You're not fully in control. Yes, hard work matters, but so does timing, environment, and pure chance. Take Bill Gates. He's brilliant, sure, but in 1968, he just so happened to attend one of the only high schools in the country with a computer. That single stroke of luck gave him a head start most people never had. Meanwhile, his equally gifted friend, Kent Evans, same dreams, same potential, died young in a tragic accident. As Morgan Housel puts it, success is never as good as it seems. Failure is never as bad. Luck and risk are siblings, and it works both ways. Think about Jesse Livermore, one of the greatest traders of all time. He made millions betting against the 1929 crash, but lost it all in the years that followed. Eventually, he died broke. So, what's the point? Don't beat yourself up when things go wrong, and don't let success make you arrogant. Instead of trying to eliminate luck and risk, build a system that survives them. That means preparing for uncertainty. That means humility, and knowing that no matter how careful you are, sometimes life just hits differently. And the most important thing you can do is stay in the game long enough for the odds to swing back in your favor. This isn't just about financial markets. It applies to your career and personal life choices as well. The best strategy is one that can endure volatility, absorb unexpected shocks, and continue to execute the core plan over decades. It means maintaining a margin of safety in all your financial dealings, having a buffer that ensures a string of bad luck doesn't force you into a position where you have to sell low or default on a commitment. The narratives we often consume about success are skewed, focusing intensely on individual genius and effort, while glossing over the enormous role of the macro environment or a lucky break. Conversely, we often assign personal fault to financial failure, overlooking the possibility that the victim was simply an unlucky participant in a highly complex and volatile system. The lesson is simple, but profound. Judgment should be reserved for patterns, not outcomes. If you can consistently make sound, rational decisions, the ultimate outcome is less important than the resilience of your overall plan. Acknowledging the chaotic, random element of life forces you to shift your focus from attempting to predict the unpredictable to simply preparing for the inevitable fact of uncertainty. This preparation, this margin of safety, is the anchor that keeps you stable when the luck and risk tides turn against you. This leads us directly to the next critical lesson. Lesson 2. Getting rich and staying rich are 2 different games. Everyone wants to know, how do I get rich? Start a business, buy crypto early, flip real estate, take bold risks. But here's the question. Nobody asks, how do I stay rich? Because those are 2 very different games. Getting rich often requires big bets, optimism, risk tolerance. But staying rich requires discipline, caution, and a deep respect for the downside. Look at Mike Tyson. He earned over $400 million in his boxing career and ended up $23 million in debt. Or Sam Bankman-Fried, who built a $26 billion crypto empire and lost it all in a flash because he kept gambling even after winning. They excelled at the getting rich game, but failed spectacularly at the staying rich game. Now look at Warren Buffett. He didn't make flashy bets. He didn't try to double his money overnight. He just kept doing the boring right thing for 70 years. And because he didn't blow up, he became one of the wealthiest people to ever live. As Buffett famously said, the first rule of compounding is to never interrupt it unnecessarily. It's not about making one big score. It's about avoiding the one mistake that wipes you out. So yes, take calculated risks to get ahead. But once you do, shift your mindset from maximizing returns to maximizing survival. Because in money, the winner isn't the one who burns the brightest. It's the one who lasts the longest. This survival-focused mindset means recognizing that compound interest is your most powerful ally, and its power is only unlocked through the passage of time without catastrophic interruption. The key is not to achieve the highest annual return, but to achieve a good enough return year after year for decades. Any move that risks derailing the entire process, no matter how lucrative it promises to be, is a bad trade. The danger lies in the psychological shift that often occurs after the initial success. The adrenaline of the big win or the rapid accumulation of wealth can lead to an overconfidence that translates into reckless continuation of the getting rich strategy. An entrepreneur who risked everything to launch a successful company might then gamble the company's future on an unnecessary high-stakes expansion. An investor who made a quick fortune in a speculative bubble might continue to leverage their holdings, convinced their success was due to skill rather than a favorable market environment. The simple realization is that the skill set required to go from $10,000 to $1 million is utterly different from the skill set required to protect $1 million and grow it to $10 million safely. The staying rich game is fundamentally about humility and frugality, even after you've made it. It's about building a cash cushion large enough to weather the inevitable downturns, the crises, the market crashes, the personal emergencies. This cushion ensures you never have to sell your assets at a loss to cover immediate needs. It's the ultimate defensive move, a moat protecting your wealth-building castle. Wealth preservation requires treating financial success not as an endpoint, but as a precarious, ongoing state that demands respect, constant vigilance, and a defensive posture. It's the silent discipline of knowing you could buy the extravagant item, but choosing not to, thereby allowing your principal to keep compounding its magic. This restraint brings us to the next point about the true nature of wealth. Lesson 3. Wealth is what you don't see. Imagine someone pulls up next to you in a Ferrari. You might think, wow, they must be rich. But all you really know is they spent a lot of money. That's the illusion. The flash is the expense. Wealth isn't the car. It's the cash you didn't spend to buy the car. As Morgan Housel says, wealth is what you don't see. It's why Ronald Reed, the janitor, became a millionaire. No one saw him investing quietly for decades, but they would have noticed if he had bought a flashy car or lived in a mansion. Here's a stat to keep in mind. Nearly 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, even many earning over six figures. Why? Because they confuse high income with wealth and spend everything they earn. Most people confuse wealth with status symbols, but those symbols are what deplete wealth, not build it. Let's break it down. Income is what you earn. Spending is what you show. Wealth is what you save and invest. And that's invisible to the outside world. This is why someone making $60,000 a year can retire early, while someone making $200,000 can still be living paycheck to paycheck. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. And ironically, the people who look the richest often aren't. Because truly wealthy people don't need to prove anything. They're too busy buying back their time, their freedom, and their peace. The silence of true wealth is its greatest advantage. When your savings and investments are not tied up in depreciating assets, they are free to grow, compounding year after year, multiplying their power out of sight. The flashy purchases, conversely, are not only a one-time drain on capital, but also create a persistent drag on future wealth via insurance, maintenance, and upkeep. The expensive house demands higher taxes and larger utility bills, The luxury car requires premium fuel and service. These are not merely status symbols, they are anti-compounders, actively working against your long-term financial goals. The most potent tool for building wealth is the conscious decision to save. Saving is the fundamental financial behavior that stands between your income and the perceived need for status. It is the active decision to trade present consumption for future security and freedom. It has nothing to do with your income level and everything to do with your personal rate of savings. The percentage of your earnings you successfully set aside. Someone with a moderate income and a high savings rate will almost always outwealth a high earner with a low savings rate over the long term, because the high earner is perpetually trapped on the consumption treadmill. Furthermore, the desire to show off wealth is rooted in a fundamental miscalculation about human psychology, a mistake Housel terms the man in the car paradox. When you see someone driving an expensive car, you don't actually think about the driver and how amazing they are. You think about how amazing you would look driving that car. You are projecting yourself into the admiration you think the car commands. Thus, the money is spent chasing an admiration that the purchaser never actually receives. Instead, they merely inspire others' fleeting desire for the object itself. The truly wealthy understand that the only person you need to impress is yourself, and the only flex worth having is the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have enough. A point which leads us into the destructive nature of not having a clear finish line. Lesson 4. The trap of never enough. Let me ask you this. How much is enough? If you just thought of a number, what happens when you hit it? Will you stop, or will the goalpost move? This is one of the most dangerous traps in finance and in life. Always chasing more. As Morgan Housel puts it, the hardest financial skill is getting the goalpost to stop moving. And the numbers prove it. Studies show most people believe they need 2 to 3 times their current income to feel rich. That gap never closes unless you close it yourself. Housel tells the story of Rajat Gupta, a man who rose from poverty in India to become the head of McKinsey & Company. He sat on boards with billionaires and had a net worth of over 100 million, but that wasn't enough. He wanted more. So he committed insider trading. He lost everything: reputation, wealth, freedom, all because he couldn't stop climbing. Housel said it best. There is no reason to risk what you have and need for what you do not have and do not need. Let's be honest, we all compare. We scroll social media, see the private jets, the designer bags, the vacations. But here's the twist. As we discussed with the man in the car paradox, when you see someone driving a Ferrari, you don't think that person's amazing. You think, if I had that car, people would think I'm amazing. We spend money to chase admiration. But admiration doesn't come from possessions. It comes from presence, humility, and peace. So here's the challenge. Define your own version of enough. Not society's, not Instagram's, yours. And when you reach it, stop. Because the richest person isn't the one with the most toys. It's the one who can look around and say, I have everything I need. The inability to define the enough turns the pursuit of wealth from a strategy for security into an addiction to status. It's a never-ending cycle of hedonic adaptation, where every new purchase or milestone only temporarily satisfies before a new, higher benchmark is set. This insatiable desire is not only financially perilous, leading people like Gupta to take absurd risks, but it is also a source of deep psychological unhappiness. True satisfaction is not found in the quantity of possessions, but in the quality of control over one's life. This recognition of a self-defined enough is the only true exit from the rat race, and the security it provides is the foundation for the final and most profound lesson. The moment you stop comparing yourself to others and competing in their game of endless escalation, you reclaim the mental and financial resources needed to pursue what really matters. This pursuit of control is the ultimate dividend money can pay. Lesson 5. Saving equals control over your time. Let's end with what might be the most underrated idea in the book and what ties everything together. The highest form of wealth is control over your time. Forget the Lambos. Forget early retirement solely as an age-based metric. Forget yachts. What money really buys when used right is the power to say, I don't want to work this weekend. I want to take a month off and travel. I want to work on what matters to me. That is freedom. As Morgan Housel writes, the ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want, is the highest dividend money pays. Here's the thing. You don't need millions to feel that power. Even a 3 to 6 month emergency fund gives you options. It gives you space. It means a layoff doesn't break you. It means a bad boss doesn't own you. It means your time is not controlled by fear or desperation. Saving isn't a sacrifice. It's the down payment on your future autonomy. Think about how different life feels when you're making decisions from a place of freedom, not desperation. Even saving a little every month builds that power incrementally. It's not about denying yourself. It's about buying back control $1 at a time. The cumulative impact of consistently setting aside funds creates a protective barrier around your life, which translates directly into negotiating power in your career and emotional resilience in your personal life. When you know you can walk away from a toxic situation, your leverage increases exponentially. So yes, build wealth, invest wisely, earn more, but never forget freedom is the ultimate flex. This financial independence is the ultimate hedge against life's unpredictable challenges, ensuring your decisions are driven by personal values rather than economic necessity. This final lesson is the capstone, bringing clarity to why we pursue wealth in the first place. The conclusion: the real flex is freedom. Let's bring it all together. The psychology of money isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about decisions, discipline, and how you define a good life. So here are the 5 truths to remember. Luck and risk are real. Don't judge too quickly. Don't play games you can't afford to lose. Build a system that survives uncertainty. Getting rich and staying rich are different skills. Master both. The ultimate goal is longevity, not maximum short-term returns. Real wealth is quiet. It's hidden in your habits, not your purchases. Focus on what you keep, not what you spend. Enough is the finish line, but you have to draw it yourself. Don't risk what you need for what you don't. Money's highest purpose is time freedom, not status, not stuff, but control over how you live. Because in the end, wealth isn't a number. It's the power to say no, the space to breathe, the time to create, rest, explore, love. The real flex is freedom. If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button. Comment below what was your favorite lesson and subscribe if you're ready to build wealth with intention, not just information. So the next time you think about money, ask yourself, am I chasing more? Or am I building a life that actually feels rich? Because you don't win the money game by out-earning everyone. You win by designing a life that's truly yours. This is Mastering Money and Wealth, where we break down complex money and wealth ideas and subjects for you.